Yo, what up guys, it's Jiedel. I'm here doing my 2K19 ideas and suggestions video. Normally I drop my ideas and suggestions video very close to the release of the new game, and I've come to realize that there's actually no point to releasing the video that late, because if they actually were to watch the video and like some of the ideas in it, they'd have no time to act on them. And it seems like the MyTEAM kind of community this year is a little dead. Now I don't like to call it dead because last year people were saying like 2K17 is dead while it was still the #1 played game on Xbox One. I don't know where you can see those numbers for PlayStation, but I know for Xbox it was very much alive and people were calling it dead. So obviously 2K is not dead just because the Twitter community might think so, but there does seem to be a lot less hype around it this year. YouTubers seem to get less views on their MyTEAM videos, and people are just releasing less videos in general, which to me kind of shows people don't like the mode. And I think I know why people are having issues with this year's MyTEAM. So I'm gonna give my ideas on how to fix it, but the first thing I'm gonna do is start with what I like about 2K18. Now the first thing I like is the salary cap. I'm not saying I like Supermax. What I'm saying is I like the salary cap because if you think about the older 2Ks, there used to be lineup restrictions, like you can only have one gold player in your lineup. That didn't work very well because not all gold players are created equal. Some are definitely a lot better than others. For example, in the old like 2K16, 2K15, you're only allowed one silver player in the first round of Road to the Playoffs, but you know, a silver player like Gordon Hayward or J.R. Smith is a lot better than a silver player like Cody Zeller. I really like the salary cap because it really makes you have to think about what you want to put in your lineup. I haven't had to think this hard about how I want to make a lineup in any 2K MyTEAM, and I like that it really does vary what teams you play against and what teams you make, but the salary cap is way too low. The card values at the moment don't make a lot of sense. For example, Golden Bruce Bone only costs 79, but just about every bronze card costs about 100 on the salary cap, so that doesn't make a lot of sense. Also, there's really no reason to make any team that doesn't have 3 bronzes at the end of it for low cost, and pretty much everyone's using 10-man rotations instead of 13-man. So if they're gonna bring the salary cap back next year, I think they need to raise it on average by just a lot, and they also need to make it so it's only for the first few rounds of Road to the Playoffs. Now you're saying Road to the Playoffs isn't in the game. In my idea, Road to the Playoffs would come back and replace Supermax, but I'm going to touch on that later in the video. Another thing I really liked with this year's MyTEAM was the goals are now based on doing things and completing game modes. In the previous 2Ks, the goals section was all about collecting cards. So basically, the goals section was just about how much money you spent on the game. This year, it's really about how you're playing the game, accomplishing things, so I think that's a great step forward. They should keep the goals section in this year's 2K. One thing I really don't like about the goals section though, and this was a problem in every goals section of the 2K MyTEAM, when you hit the inspect card button, it doesn't let you inspect the card that is for that goal. So if you click on your right stick on a goal, it should show you that card like it would if you were going through your collection or anything like that. The final thing that I like is Pack and Playoffs is a massive step forward from the blacktop mode. Is it perfect? No, I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's a huge step forward. Now there's problems with it, but we're gonna touch on that now. I'm gonna talk about what I really don't like about this year's MyTEAM. So the Supermax. The Supermax mode is very annoying because it goes by way too quick. You know, like there's 4 rounds in a season or something. I don't even fully understand it. And it feels like the rounds end in like a few days. So with the old 2K MyTEAMs, you really had this sense of progression where you really wanted to get to the first seed in the Road to the Playoffs, Road to Pink Diamond. You wanted to become a Pink Diamond player, and it took a long time because it was something that took the whole year to do for a lot of people if you didn't just rush through it in the beginning. And you always wanted to get better cards because everyone else was getting better cards, so you needed better cards to compete. So you would try to get to the Pink Diamond, and it was like a long thing, and it's why you played MyTEAM mode. That was the core mode, and it's why you kept going. Now that your progress resets every 4 days, it feels like there's no point because you're never really building toward anything, and because you're not building and progressing, it feels so pointless to play Supermax. Now we'll go to Pack and Playoffs. The Pack and Playoffs mode, it just takes a little bit too long. I think they should do 5-game series instead of 7-game series. This isn't too big of an issue, but I do think they could shorten it. I also don't like this whole flip 2 cards thing. Maybe in the beginning of the year it makes sense because there's not a lot of cards in the game, but later in the year, I think they should let us flip all 5 cards. It's just kind of strange the way they're doing it right now. I'm not a huge fan of it, and I'm seeing a lot of problems with it. A lot of teams I run into will have like too many big men or too many point cards, and if you're able to draft a normal team, you can really just play mismatch basketball in these teams, and it's really unfair. I swept the last 3 rounds of Pack-In playoffs, and the way I did it was pretty much just isolating a mismatch over and over again, and because there's no subs, they had no way to stop me. That's not really fun gameplay for them, and even for me, even though I'm winning, I don't really like just putting a big man in the post over and over and over again. That's not the most fun way to play, or just isolating Giannis against the center over and over again. That's not really a fun way to play NBA 2K in my opinion without varying the gameplay, so I think they need to let's flip all 5 cards so we can avoid just overly mismatched basketball, because that's what the Pack-In playoff games really seem to turn into. Also, the rewards for Pack-In playoffs were absolutely terrible. I beat the NBA Finals and I got 5 gold players, and the reward board literally gave me nothing. I understand that it gets better as you keep doing it, but you should at least get a Sapphire player for beating the first set of Pack-In playoffs. The fact that you don't even get a Sapphire player is ridiculous, because you can get a Sapphire player from the challenges, but beating players is more challenging than beating challenges. That's just not fair at all. Like, I felt like I completely wasted my time. It's like, why would I want to keep playing MyTEAM? I feel like there's no point for Supermax, and I feel like I don't get rewarded for beating Pack-In playoffs. Alright, so let's get to my ideas. So the first thing I want to say is, make your decisions in MyTEAM really count. So I suggested this a few years ago. Now people are gonna say, Jiedel, don't copy Shake and Bake. I suggested this before Shake and Bake. When you choose your pack in the beginning, you're gonna choose a development card. So what is a development card? It's a card that you pick. So for example, we have Steph here, we have Kobe, we have LeBron, we have Tim Duncan, we have Hakeem. Let's say you pick Kobe. After 19 games, that Sapphire Kobe becomes a Ruby Kobe. After 39 games, that Ruby Kobe becomes an Amethyst Kobe. And after 59 games, that Amethyst Kobe becomes a Diamond Kobe Bryant. Basically, this rewards you for playing the game. It also allows you to kind of build your team around that player if you choose. I think this is a better way to go about it than to give us a free agent that we lose after like 3 games. Now, obviously, you have to make probably more than 5 development cards, otherwise everyone would be running the same cards. But this is just an example video. So, I mean, I just think that'd be a good idea. It'd be cool to level up your players, and they don't have to be the starter cards. There could be other development cards on shorter development tracks. Maybe you can release special cards like a Ruby LeBron that can be developed into an Amethyst LeBron after like 15 games or something. That'd be cool to release a series of development cards. Alright, this is the number 1 thing they need to do. They need to change Supermax back to Road to the Playoffs. I think I've pretty much already gone over it, but there's no sense of progression with the Supermax mode because it just resets way too often. Now, I've also thought of a change, and I suggested this for 2K17, but I'll suggest it again. Instead of having 1 season-long road to the playoffs, I think it should be 4 of them throughout the year, and they'll be shorter. So kind of a mix between the current and the old system. So once every season, it'll reset your road to the playoffs. But if you achieve Pink Diamond, you'll get a reward. So let's say you beat the first season of road to the playoffs, that'll be like Rookie of the Year theme. So you would get to choose between one of these 3 cards. And that's the other thing, a side note, I don't think 2K should just give a reward card. I think you should always get to choose what card you want from rewards. Now, in some cases, it's already like that, but it's not always like that. You know, if you complete the challenge mode tokens, you'll get D Brown, who's a Sapphire, but you might want to get a Sapphire center. So I think 2K should always give you an option kind of between a wing, a guard, and a big. By having the road to the playoffs be seasonal and shorter, it'll allow more people to reach Seed 1. And I think more people, because they've reached Seed 1, will feel more gratified and they'll want to play the next season. Also, by giving good rewards at the end of it, people will want to come back to get the new reward. Whereas with Supermax, it's just so fast that it feels like it's pointless. But with the new one, it's long enough where it feels like you're ready to go at it again because the reward players would be good. You need to make really good reward players for these things. Another thing I want 2K to do is add a tournament mode. Now, my idea for a tournament mode is it'll only last 1 week and it'll happen once a month. And it'd be kind of like Pack-In playoffs. You'd have to win a certain number of games to move on to the next round, or it could be double elimination. I haven't thought of how the eliminating from the tournament worked. They had something like this in 2K14, but basically if you beat the tournament, so let's say you have to go 6-2, and if you go 6-2 in 8 tournament games, you win it. So let's say you win it, you would get a prize. So I was thinking the first 6 tournaments, so over the first 6 months, 1 week out of every month, there'd be a tournament that'd be themed after a division. So let's say the first month the game is out, there's the Southeast Division tournament, and if you win, you get to choose one of the Southeast team heroes. So these are some examples I came up with, and then over the course of the year, every division will have a thing. And the reason I wanted it only once a week is it's a special event, and if you have too many different game modes, the players are spread out across all the game modes. So if we have tournament mode, Supermax mode, and pack and playoffs mode, then people are going to be spread out and it makes matching times take longer. If you have the tournament only last a week, once a month, then everyone will be on the tournament mode. You'll be able to find games quick. Another thing is they can alternate the tournament weeks with maybe double MT weekend weeks, because if you have weekends where we can earn double MT, that might encourage more people to play the game, and that'll help keep the game mode alive, because that works for things like Call of Duty, it works for Halo. So I think they should bring in quote-unquote double XP weekends to NBA 2K MyTEAM. I think that would help. Let's talk about the coach cards. Right now they have different styles. I'm sure the styles do something. I'm not gonna lie and sit here and tell you I know what they do. I really don't, and I don't say I don't want to learn it. I think 2K should just simplify it. Just have coaches give us attribute boosts or losses. So for example, let's say you have Lakers Phil Jackson as a coach. Every player on your team would get +4 post fade and +2 defensive awareness. Don't make the coaches give you too big of a bonus. The coaches really don't seem to matter. I run Doc Rivers on my team, and I play a complete like 5-out offense or a 4-out 1-in offense, which really isn't what his grit and grind card suggests. So I don't know what the coaches matter. I don't even know what the system proficiency is. I think all of us kind of want them to get rid of that. Like, none of us know what it does. This is just another suggestion really quick. I think they should just get rid of the challenge mode. The challenges are so boring. If you look at the schedule challenges, you don't even get anything. You have to play 30 games and you literally get nothing from them. The like D Brown for doing all those challenges is such a lame reward. I just don't like challenge mode. I think domination is basically a challenge mode, and domination is enough. We don't need a challenge mode. Challenge mode just seems like this thing 2K does to act like there's a lot of content in the game when there's really not. Because they'll say like there's over 900 challenges, but no one really wants to play any of those challenges. They're not fun, they're just really boring. So just get rid of challenge mode. We really don't need it in the game, honestly. Alright guys, those were my ideas for this video. I have more ideas. If you want me to talk about those ideas, just comment your ideas. Say what, you want to see in the game. Tell me what you thought of my ideas. Leave a like for this video. Please tweet it at the NBA 2K developers and their community managers, Ronnie and LD2K. Hopefully they can see this video, and if they like it, maybe they can make some of the changes that I suggested, or they can at least bounce their ideas off my ideas and come up with a solution, because obviously this year's MyTEAM just doesn't have the same pizzazz that the last few did. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Oh, that sound like money. Oh, that sound like freedom. Oh, that sound gon' need a feature, but he didn't need them. I'm coming back like Jesus, color Reese's Pieces. That's the money down here, we gon' need a visa. Red like he Anita, that's my DJ. Thank you, DJ Drama. Came in this bitch like my baby mama.